Good snowy Sunday morning here in Philadelphia, guys. Welcome into Philly AM Sports. Running solo today. Mike Lauro is, because of this white powdery stuff behind us, he is working extra hard. He's a PennDOT man. So, of course, this is a busy day of the year, busy time of year for him, of course. So I'll be flying solo today. But the conversation remained the same. Good morning, Rob. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, my friend. No Mike today, but he is here in spirit. You might even see him chime in. God only knows. We'll find out. But the conversation hasn't changed since Friday night too much. Philly still haven't signed JT Realmuto yet. The Eagles are going into a snowy Sunday afternoon game, 1:00 game against the lowly Raiders, against former Eagles backup quarterback Kenny Pickett, but has the anger, the visceral feelings towards Jalen Hurts, the wanting to bench Jalen Hurts, just all that. Has that changed in anybody yet? Is it still the same cold, blistery feelings that we should sit Jalen? Are you just, let's see what happens today? I mean, I guess at this point you have no choice in the matter unless the Eagles come out and say, well, we're starting Tanner McKee, which would, this town would go nuts if it happened in two different ways, by the way. Some people would really want it. Some people really wouldn't want it. I'm on the wouldn't want it train, and it's not because of some I don't know how you put it, blind faith in Jalen Hurts. There's been a lot of talk from some of the other parts of the industry about trading Jalen, like the proposed Jalen for Joe Burrow discussion, where it would cost the Eagles maybe 2 first-round picks or first and a second and Jalen Hurts to get Joe Burrow. Is asinine. And listen, I love Joe Burrow. Would I like Joe Burrow in an Eagles uniform? Absolutely. It's nothing against Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow hasn't stayed healthy. He's had one really good season where he actually showed he could beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs that one year. But since then, injury has been a huge problem and topic for him. So does he have an it factor? Sure. If the trade came down, would I be upset? I mean, you're getting Joe Burrow, so would I be upset? Not as much, but I think it's an asinine conversation to be having still at this point. To be having a guy who has led you to two Super Bowls, and I know a lot of people want to throw the fact, oh, it was the defense. Oh, it was, this, that, and the other. The Chiefs were just falling apart fast. Sure, absolutely, that was happening. And maybe he shouldn't have even been Super Bowl MVP. There's always that conversation. There's always going to be a conversation. But the end all be all is, in the recent success in the last 5 years for the Philadelphia Eagles, since Jalen Hurts took over for Carson Wentz, I mean, not much success at the end of that 2020 season. That was just get that season over with and move on with life type situation. But since he's taken over as the starting QB1, success is there. Despite everybody's wanting and urges for it not to be it sometimes I start to wonder, do people prefer to be right more than prefer to win? I would rather have my take be completely wrong. Like, for instance, I don't think we should trade Jalen Hurts, but say they traded Jalen Hurts for Joe Burrow, got the job done. Joe Burrow came in, we won 2 more Super Bowls. I'd rather be wrong on that one. But in the current situation, in the current not Fantasyland conversations, I have to, I have to find it asinine that this conversation is being had, that he's had the success has been here as long as he's been here, and Nick Sirianni, and there's another guy that people put a lot of blame on or call him, CEO, coach, cheerleader, which sometimes you wonder. But This team has gotten down, but it has come out of it, and it's like we have no problem giving those guys a hard time when the chips are down, but when the chips are not down, we don't want to give them any credit. Like there has to be a give. The takes are getting wild. Major media is getting even more wilder because you know why? It's good money for them. It's good clicks for them. If you poke at Philly, they know we're going to poke back because I said it before. Nobody likes us and we don't care mantra was bullshit. Absolutely another bullshit. You know it, I know it. Nobody likes us and we do care. And it annoys us that we don't get enough, we don't get respect on our names. Rob saying Eagles will win today. What's going on, Adam? Good morning, Al. We should win today, pulling away. But if we lose, do you think Sirianni and Patullo get fired immediately? I don't think. Maybe Patullo. I don't think Sirianni. I think the guys just come off winning a Super Bowl. I know that shouldn't, in most eyes, shouldn't give you like a free pass, but it does, and especially in sports. Winning cures all, even though when you're not winning right now. I think Patullo gets fired, maybe. The conversation of sit Jalen, thumps harder. And rightfully so if they do lose that. I mean, you lose to a 2-win Raiders team who has 2 really good players on it, and that's it. The rest of it's just, I don't care what you scheme against the Eagles, how bad it is, how the weather outside is. It's like everybody's dreaming of a white Christmas, but is everybody else dreaming of a whole new Eagles team, new coaches, new players? Listen, we still have a lot of young core here, and things can get better. Like a lot of the problems we're having can be fixed. It's not like we're asking a guy to do something he physically can't do. And he's in a slump. He is really in a slump. I'm not sitting here supporting Jalen blindly, but I'm also not being ridiculous. Hurts isn't going anywhere. Rob, I don't think so either. It's just the conversation is being had, and then I have to have it with you. Even though I feel it to be an asinine conversation, even people on this network here, feel it's time to sit him. And my question is, and it's like anything, there's more, it's not just black and white, there's a lot of gray. And like, what level of sitting? Are you sitting him knowing that you sit him today, for instance? If you were to sit him today, do you sit him today and then you play him no matter what next week? Even if Tanner McKee came out and just put up a 45 burger on the team, like, or is it if Tanner does really good, we're going to keep sitting Jalen? Because that's where the story and that's where the conversation starts to turn. Now, again, if they lose today, if this team loses today, and it's on the back of the offense not being able to score against the Raiders, even with all the injuries the Eagles have, they should still score. Then the conversation for at least benching them for one game is a conversation to be had. But right now, when you have a really bad team that's, you want to refer to as a term, get right game, this is the best chance for the Eagles to get right. And I'm not talking about going out and now, especially now, him throwing 3, 4, 5 touchdown passes. I'm talking just mistake-free football. Maybe something a little easier. Like let him find his groove, I guess is a good way of putting it. And by putting Tanner McKee in now in this game, I think does the complete opposite and turns it on its head. And Rob's also saying, I don't think Sirianni is going anywhere either. I don't think so. I think Hurts and they're going to let him. They're going to ride it out with him. Now, if this 2025 season ends like 2023 kind of does, either you limp into the playoffs because of a hot start, and then you just get demolished, or if you somehow don't even make the playoffs or you get knocked down out of I think if you get knocked out of the division, the conversation needs to be had about a lot of changes. That is something to think about. But this is not a conversation to be had today. I don't understand. People are angry. People are mad. People are pounding their chest. But it is Eagles Sunday. I know I'm wearing my Phillies red today for this show. It's just when I wear my Eagles, my background, I look like a floating head. I had to get a different background for that. And I agree with this. I think Patullo isn't over his head, Rob. I really do. The Eagles, I don't know if anything you learned from this season, the hiring within, just because whatever isn't always the answer. I'm not saying you should never hire within from the offensive coordinator standpoint, but we all know Drew Hurts is, you know, not positives, and his downfalls, and a good scheming offensive coordinator like Kellen Moore, like Shane Steichen, would be able to work around them. Again, is it more him? Was Sirianni in the conversation? They started off pretty doing some the good stuff against the Chargers, and they got away from it, like taking snaps from under the center, running the ball more. You saw Saquon kind of getting his a little bit. But again, was this a different game? Was the Chargers game a different game if AJ catches one of those 3 touchdown passes? There's a little space. You don't feel like you're under the gun as much, and is then Jalen not forcing the ball? Like, was he forcing the ball because of things going over? I'm not trying to blame one person, but there has to be other complaints about this game more than just Jalen. I mean, listen, 2 turnovers in a single play. It's hard to breeze over that. And it's hard for me to sit here and defend the man after his state of play. But you don't want to be. None of us want to be judged on our worst day. If everybody treated us like we treat athletes on at our own jobs, you had a bad day at work, you would have people clamoring for your job one bad day. We've all had bad days. Now, granted, you get paid a lot more money. You get paid a lot more money to pay a kid's game, as they always say. It's just, I think, from chemistry standpoint, from a team standpoint, you kind of have to ride or die with Jalen a little bit this year. Now, granted, I said if they lose today against the Raiders, or he does another bad showing, like he's just so inept, then maybe you do have to sit him. But I think at that point you were definitely waving the white flag on the season. And it's not a slight against Tanner McKee. It's just nobody makes a big change on last year's Super Bowl MVP quarterback, not even a season later. The NFL hires within like all companies. No, I get that. I mean, they're within the NFL. I'm saying within the Eagles organization, Adam. I'm talking just because a guy, has been around a guy for a certain amount of time. I'm not saying you should never do it, but the last couple times have been shaky at best. And then when you bring in a Kellen Moore, you bring in a Shane Steichen, it fixes a lot of the problems. You just need somebody who's more ready for it, not some guy that you think might be ready for it. Because what you could have done is you could have hired another coach that maybe would have been another one and done season because he is successful. And then allowed Patullo to kind of learn and try and then start. Kind of like a transitional year. What's up, Ryan? Long time no talk, buddy. Hope all is well. But again, we're having that same Eagles conversation about Jalen Hurts. Am I telling you this is a Super Bowl team? No. Is this team riddled with injuries? Absolutely. I mean, our offensive line has to take a lot of blame for it, and usually that's the mainstay of this team, even when we struggled in other areas. The run game was always a positive and hasn't been that much as much as a year. We saw a little bit from Saquon. And again, they got away from it. I think they only ran the ball like 4 times in the second half because they were panicking. Was it because of Jalen's mistakes? Was it because of AJ's drops? Even Devontae had a drop. I mean, that last play was absolutely 100% Jalen. I mean, he force-fed it between 3 defenders to try to get in the end zone to Jahad Dotson, or at least close to it, when there's plenty of time on the clock, and Dallas Goedert was about 10 yards in front of him, maybe one 1 yard shy of the line to gain, and he wasn't there. Ryan's jumping in here. Same old shit with the Phillies. They need a freaking new DNA of hitters and philosophy. Stop trying to make the change players into what they are not. It's only lasts so long. Actually, get players who do what they are looking for, not trying to make players into things. And that's something that I've talked about, and I talked about Friday. So Ryan, I don't know if I don't think you're joining in. At least maybe you were watching, but not commenting. And we'll transition. We'll come back to the Eagles in a few, but we'll transition to the Phillies a little bit. Um, I still don't know how to react or feel to um, the Kyle Schwarber signing, 5 years, $150 million. For those who don't know, I love Kyle. Great glue guy, great chemistry guy. Does have a ton of pop in his bat, and looks like plenty to go, at least for the next few years. Has been a little lackluster in the postseason, especially over the last couple of years, because people are pitching around him. And are people trying to protect him more by putting him in the 1 spot or the 2 spot with Bryce Harper behind him? I think if there's going to be, and they mentioned philosophy, right? I mean, Dombrowski just recently in the last couple of days mentioned philosophy at the winter meetings, and okay, so signing Kyle Schwarber, you could have signed for about the same amount of money. Pete Alonso got a lot of the same kind of production, a lot of the same type of player, but 3 years younger, which plays a big factor into it. But doesn't mean he's going to be Kyle Schwarber. My point being is that he needs to be in the 4 hole. If you're keeping him, I mean, obviously you're keeping him now. You've made the decision. The offer has been accepted. He is in. He's back in a Phillies uniform. He's not going anywhere. He will play the rest of his career most likely in Philadelphia. But the philosophy needs a change of, he is a heavy hitter. He is a home run machine. He is a 4-hole hitter. Maybe when he struggles, a 5-hole hitter, but he's not a 1 or a 2, maybe a 3 if Harper's injured or they have to move things around. But he is a 4-hole hitter. That's where the philosophy needs to change. Stop using analytics too much. Stop. Rely on the gut, the chest, the heart, the eyes a little bit more. But okay, you got Kyle. He's another heavy hitter. Goes along with Bryce. But that should be it. It needs to be all pray and spray type players who put the ball into play. And it needs to be that way. And I think Adam in here is another conversation. The other older guy went back is JT. I think he's got plenty to tank defensively. He's not usually an offensive hindrance. And you know what? You bump him down the lineup. 7-8 hole. JT in the 7-8 hole with his athletic ability still and his ability to catch and call a game, still one of the tops. And with the unknown of Zach Wheeler, the unknown of what we're going to get from Aaron Nola, the unknown of Painter if he's up here, which he better be, or there's a bigger issue to be had. And whoever else is Christopher Sanchez. I know he does much better when JT's behind the plate. I mean, he doesn't look like. I mean, he's one of the most durable guys, one of the most durable catchers in the last 6 years. I think I read. So yeah, but does Bohm come back? I sure hope not. I'm actually really over him now. I kept giving him chances and chances, and he's just very streaky. He's almost Pat Burrell-ish when it comes to hitting. He's very streaky. He's also very BS attitude, and I really feel like that's why Castellanos is getting out of here more than anything. I mean, plus his streakiness, but he's just the attitude. I mean, he's just a younger version of Castellanos in my eyes, and it was something. So I really hope they can move on from him. They can move on from Casty, but I feel like they're pleading and begging people to take him. I don't know who's going to want to take him for another $20 million. It's a big swallow, so you might have to eat that. But yeah, I think JT, and I really do hope they can move on for Bohm. But the problem is you're going to have to get a rental unless you are trading A.J. Miller. There's a lot of that conversation. Al, let's be honest. If you desire certain philosophy and style in players, as a team, won't you look for and do your best to bring players who bring the style and attributes? Not keep trying to make players be something they're not because it's only late because it only late for so long or lasts for so long, I guess, before you revert back to their tendencies. No, you're right. We saw when this team struggles, they go back to their swing for the fences and win the match by mashing the ball. But again, you do need some heavy hitters, and if your heavy hitters are going to be um, Bryce and uh, Schwarber, then fine. But the philosophy needs to change of where he's batting at. But you need to. That means you need to make more moves out other places, like we were just talking. Move on for Bohm. It bolster that outfield. You look at a Cody Bellinger. Can you afford a Cody Bellinger? Because the two things that you want to check marks, that big check marks in my eyes, are against Kyle Schwarber more than his bat or his offensive in the postseason is he clogs up that DH spot. If he wasn't here and you got a guy like the polar bears they call him and Pete Alonso, he could play first base. You can move Harper back to right fielder into the DH spot. Give guys breaks when breaks are needed. Because the problem is he goes into you just sign on a 5-year DH. And that's just the way it is. So I agree with you. And that's why I'm not 100% sold on the Kyle thing yet. But it's happening, Ryan. No matter how much we like or dislike the decision, it's happening. But what's going to make me feel better about it is that philosophy change going to come of how the lineup occurs, who else you bring in around him. Morning from Washington State. Mickey, what's going on, my friend? Always up and early, bright, bushy-tailed. I don't know what it's like out there, but as you could tell from the scene behind me, we are having a little bit of a early white Christmas here. Nice few inches out there, just in time for the Eagles to take on the Raiders. I'm sure the Raiders love the snow. Don't you know? Don't you know? Absolute stud you are. What's up there, Frankie? What's going on, buddy? And it's with the Phillies, the philosophy change can still happen even with Schwarber. I mean, he's still a really good player, and he still brings a lot of pop. It's just, what are you putting around him? Are we running it back with Bohm? Are we running it back with Bryson Stott? Is your outfield going to be about the same? Maybe you re-sign Bader, Jay Crawford, and then Brandon Marsh. That's running it back. But if you're going to move on from guys, and I mean, I know I've seen conversations about Matt Strahm and the Mariners. I've even seen some conversation about the Mariners and Bohm. Bohm's been in question there. But there's a lot of discussion about could the Mariners go after Bohm? Could the Mariners go after a left-handed reliever in Strahm? And there has even been a connection to Mariners trading Randy Arozarena. And he's a player that I was clamoring for when they first traded him to the Mariners during the trade deadline. I like him. I think he's an all-star outfielder. He's an offensive kind of production guy, can provide that kind of production jolt. You could probably get it done for prospects, and maybe if they want Strahm or Bohm. I don't know what his. Trying to think. He's earning around 18 million, so there's that. I don't know if that plays a factor. If you lose Strahm and Bohm, are you clogging that up too? There's Luis Castillo has been another conversation the Mariners have, not with the Phillies so much, but moving on from him and Arozarena have been a big conversation. Does Arozarena just make this team older? That falls into the question as well. I mean, I think he is either 32 or going to be 32. So again, that's a problem. there has to be a bit of a youth movement here, which I know Matty B has been talking about, and I like it. No, the Phillies don't play today. Fred, what's going on, buddy? I'm wearing this because I put on my Eagle stuff, the green screen. I just seem like a floating fat ball of jelly head. So that's why right now I'm just doing the red for the contrast purposes. But the Phillies do not play today. I would hopefully the Phillies pay JT Realmuto so that conversation can be done and had, and then start bringing some new players in. And I agree. Like Ryan had mentioned, we need a philosophy change. We need players around there. And we're obviously keeping Schwarber, and it is what it is. I'm still not 1,000% sold on it. I love it, but at the same time, I worry about it. But if you're doing that, like I said, I gotta see him in the 4-hole. It has to be in the 4-hole. It's just in my eyes. If you don't put him in the 4-hole, it's a huge, huge, huge loss. Getting him on base because they walk him so much in the first or 1 or 2 hole is great because you put him on base because he's not a problem on base. He's not an issue on base. So that's it. Like that needs to be the first philosophy change. And yes, thank you, Fred. I was about to say that too. Protect Harper. I mean, we've been talking about that for years. Alec Boehm does not do that. Alec Boehm does the opposite. They walk Harper to get to Boehm, even if they load the bases that way. I mean, the odds are with him. He's one of the higher strikeout ratios on the team. So why wouldn't you? So all right, you got your boppers and Harper and Schwarber, 3-4 spots locked up. Turner, of course, in the 1 spot as long as he's healthy. Maybe even Crawford in the 2 spot, depending on how his bat is if he starts. I mean, if Harrison Bader was sticking around, I would love to see Harrison Bader maybe in that 2 spot. Trey, Bader, Harper, Schwarber is a 1, 2, 3, 4 punch that could be pretty amazing. You move on from Casty and see what you got. I mean, do they sign a Cody Bellinger? Is that a guy who they like or see producing? Haha, is that saying? Nah, good, bud. Thanks, bud. I saw that you were at the thing in Springfield the other day. I couldn't make it out on Friday, but hopefully everything went well at the toy drive. So that was amazing that you were there. I'm glad that happened. It's an amazing spectacle that they put on too. It's pretty cool. But that's in a nutshell. That's the Phillies right now. So I know Schwarber doesn't make people feel special in the philosophy change, but it's how you handle him now. And like, if you don't keep going for aging stars or past their prime, because the problem is if you have too many older guys, I really fear the playoffs. In the sense of, are they tired? Are they exhausted? Are they just not ready when it comes to it? They don't have the same pop in their bat. That's a big question. Let Schwarber at the 4, then guys in front of him can knock in. Exactly. I mean, Trey's going to get on base as far as I'm concerned. Like, he can manufacture runs, and last year he was one of the best hitters in baseball as long as he was playing. And he can bring on walks. That 2 spot is a conversation to be had. Is it one of the younger guys brought in, like a Crawford, depending on how his bat is, guy with some speed? Bryson Stott. If you keep him around, which I'd imagine they are, he's going to be at he'll probably be at the 8, 9 hole. And I'm okay with him there because he produced well there. Once he got settled in, his defense was good and as it always is. And then he settled in and he looked really well. And that's okay. Like you can't expect to have a home run hitter in every spot. I think that's what the Phillies were trying to do, like buck the trend. But if the Dodgers taught us anything, guys who just can put the ball in play and manufacture runs are the most dangerous, especially come the playoffs. I mean, there's some long balls in the playoffs for the Phillies Dodgers especially, but where we got hurt was in singles and doubles and blue plays and just guys willing to get the ball in play. And it's just, that's been my chest is sore and bruised from me pounding that so much for the last couple of years. And I get why Ryan is um not feeling the Schwarber trade because I worry about the age and can he continue to produce? You know, if you're signing him for fee for 5 years, but do you expect maybe 3 years, 2 years? I mean, that's a big if for a guy his age, and that's why I said like Randy Rosarina was a guy who's going to be older too. Yeah, I wanted him a few years ago. Not going to get him. I don't think they're going to move on him. I mean, maybe for a couple year rental. I don't know what his contract has left. Let me see if I can find his contract real quick. Um, so he doesn't have a contract. He's under control with the Mariners through 2026. He'll be a free agent after that. So he's $18.2 million, 2026. You don't have to extend him. So maybe that makes his price, his value, I should say, less. Maybe you don't have to give away, anything of major. You can see how he does, and then maybe extend him a couple extra years if he looks well enough. But um, I want to see what his 2025 numbers were. Like that, it's just always a guy I wanted to see in Phillies uniform. I think his little time has passed on the ability to see that. Yeah, I mean nothing to write home about. 160 games, 238, 27 home runs, 76 RBIs, 95 runs, 31 stolen bases with an OBP of 334, slugging percentage of 426. Slight dip. You know, I'm better than what we've seen before, but he puts in play, and that's my thing. Is like he can get the long ball. Don't get me wrong. 27 is nothing to sneer at, but it depends. Again, how much are we paying? Is it a way of getting a guy in here as while we wait for guys like Crawford to get better? That if we had to move him to the bench later in the season, that's all we said. Like he's only gonna have one more year. Hey, Coach Don, what's going on? We need to try to get Bader back, JT as well. I think the one person people went back is Bader. And the only reason I worry about Bader, let me just throw this out there, Don, is that was like his best season for the most part. As far as I doing the research, that was like his best season. Is he a one-hit wonder? But he juiced this team up big time. He can hit in that 2 hole, obviously. What is he commanding for I'm just trying to see what they're commanding right now. So his average was a little. I know he was with the Phillies. He was a 305, but prior to that, with the Twins, he was a 258. So him coming to Philly also juiced him up a little bit too. I think he is. I mean, he could play the outfield well. So you have kind of a backup at center field if you have to move on from Brandon Marsh. It's just a price. Like that's what I worry about with guys like him. That is my key worry with him. He's 31. He's 31 years old, so he's not old. And if you can sign, I mean, it's the years. You sign him for 2 more years, 3 more years. Okay, for what? 15 million? Is that what he's looking for? I'm not against the Bader. Like I love Harrison Bader. I really do. I really do. I worry that he was a bit of a one-hit wonder. Came here, juiced, got himself juiced up the team. But will it continue? I mean, I know some Yankees fans who would tell you otherwise. That he's, once the juice is loose, it's hard to get back in the box. But JT is, I think, has to be re-signed. I mean, the catcher trade market really isn't there. I think the highest paid catcher, let me see, I think I just saw something on that. Right now is like 16, um, $16 million or something like that. So Get him for 15, 16, 16 and a half. You can get him 16 and a half for 2 years. I know that's probably been the sticking point. That to me is let's see, this is oh no, this is not last. This is the wrong time. Okay, here we go. In 2025, he was one of the top catchers, 23 million. Kansas City's Perez was 20 million. Cal Riley was at 17.5 million. Will Smith, the Dodgers, was 14 million. Sean Murphy with Atlanta was 12 million, and Mitch Garver was 12 million. So, can we get JT for less? And that's the question. He's probably one of the top catching prospects, and are you going to have to pay him? And I'm okay with paying him. I'm one of the biggest JT fans. Sat by him when a lot of people wanted him gone, which is still understood. Alone, his defense is worth it. Especially, again, back to what we were talking about. His ability to call a game with the unknowns of Zach Wheeler, the unknowns of how Aaron Nolan's going to bounce back, or if he will bounce back. We know Christopher Sanchez's numbers is much better with him than without him. And then Andrew Painter, if he's coming up, he's going to need a savvy guy like him to work with. So there's a lot of conversation to be had. Personally, but I want to switch gears back to the Eagles. We're about 37 minutes. I want to remind people that there's plenty of show to go on today. The Eagles Raiders post game show, Flyers Canes post game show, and of course the final word with Matty B. I'm sure talking all positivity. So you can catch that Sunday through Thursdays at 9 p.m. Mike Lara will be back on Tuesday with props, locks, and parlays. And I believe so. Matty B's on the Flyers call tonight. Mike was on the last one last night. And then for Pittsburgh fans, Steelers pre and post game with Steel City Sundays. Pittsburgh Sports Tonight, the Pittsburgh Sports Desk, and so much more. So check it all out here. Hopefully, maybe you guys got your headphones on and you're shoveling the snow. So you're listening along with me. So if you're not chiming in, just listening along, that's awesome. But the conversation's got to switch back. The Eagles play today, 1:00. With a lot of controversy swirling around them, some of the most ridiculous controversy. And for those who are still in the chat, I would love to know, where do you stand right now? Where do you stand with the quarterback situation with Jalen Hurts? As I will talk about, for those who are just joining me, where I stand, that it's an asinine conversation to have to sit him, especially when I when I can call this the most get right game we could get. Because yes, you are playing Washington a couple times, but they're divisional games, and we know how those can swing in different ways. It's snowy out, so that will affect the throwing ability and the field conditions and all that. But I'm not looking for 4 touchdowns and 300 yards of offense or 350 yards of offense. The problem is I need to see consistency and less turnovers. And if you do that, and you give him this chance to do that, we all know what Jalen's capable of. And that's my problem. It's like we've all forgotten what we know. It's been proven what he's capable of. And to sit here and discuss about trading him for Joe Burrow, and we all know that's never going to be happening. It's just, the media around here, major media, NFL, ESPN networks, and all that stuff, because they know you poke the bear of Philly, you're going to get the clicks, you're going to get the wrath, you're going to get either guys who are pounding their chest to throw them out and fire them and cut them, or you're going to get guys like me who are talking about it because we're annoyed by these so-called experts who talk about, just create narratives, because that's what they do. They spin yarns. It's foolish to think about sitting Jalen 10 months removed from the Super Bowl. Honestly, would not be fair to put Tanner in the spot either in must-win games. That's my other part of the coin, Don, is the Tanner McKee thing. Like, again, I said earlier, this town loves their backup quarterback. And rightfully so. It's not there's no reason for that, but they love their backup quarterback. And Tanner has showed some flashes of success. He has a good build for a quarterback, the strength, the height. We've seen the ability there. I'm not, and this is no slight against Tanner, but if it happens, I said, like, what is the ultimate, like, if it's a true thought process, Don, what's the ultimate game plan here? Sit, sit Jalen, play Tanner today against one of the probably best teams for him to get right against. And then you're going to put him back in next week against Washington, cold. Because if you don't, and say Tanner's a really good game, and you stick with Tanner, now you got a bigger problem. Now you got a disgruntled quarterback who you're not going to get as much for. He's got a big contract. But listen, people are going to want Jalen. People want Carson. People are going to want Jalen. Don't get me wrong. Tradable he is, but in that sense, but you're creating a scenario that doesn't help. And on the other side of the coin, if Tanner comes out and just completely S's the bed, any trade value of Tanner goes right out the window. Now, if you have to stick him in a game where Jalen gets hurt, what happens? He's going to be cold. He's going to be nervous. I don't see much positive out of this. Even if you win today's game, what do you got to do next? Our median Philly kill our own wounded. Yeah. Listen, if we were judged at our jobs like sports, like athletes are at their jobs, could you imagine, Don, you're going to work, you do your job, you know, maybe didn't have a great day, you made a mistake. You know, nothing that people know that's not your typical work product. People know that's not who you are, and you could easily fix this. But you had the entire office building just clamoring to fire Don Green. Because even though he's done really good for us and did some of the best numbers and has made this building or this company successful many times, but he's had a bad couple weeks, so we're going to fire him. No, you sit and talk with him. Don, what's going on? Why are we struggling here? Why are we not doing well? What are we missing here? How do we fix the problem? No. It's just easier to call people bums and knuckleheads and say he sucks. Or listen, Jalen is not perfect at all. He's a lot of, holes in his game. And that's where good offensive coordinators like Shane Steichen and they took the ball out of his hand. They let the team run all over people. We didn't even need Jalen. Anybody could hand the ball off. No. The run game was there because Jalen had the ability to run himself. So that's why the RPO worked very well. He could run the ball himself. So you had three worries: the throw, the running back, or the quarterback running the ball himself. That's a lot to scheme for. And they've gotten away from that. I know AJ was clamoring about his stats before, a few weeks back, and I'm not getting enough targets, and he's bitching and moaning online, and he's another guy I'm over. I great player, don't get me wrong, and I love having him on the team for that reason, but I think they could go win the Super Bowl this year. I think he's done. I think they'll move on from him. Here's my thing is, where there's smoke, there's fire a lot of times, and I believe the whole New England Patriots conversation about trading AJ Brown, I think that's there. I mean, there's a connection to the Patriots and Lori. Lori wanted to buy the Patriots before he bought the Eagles. And I think the conversations were there and some stuff leaked out. There was never a plan to do it during the season. But with the team having more success, they are missing a world-class wide receiver, and AJ Brown would fill in that gap big time. Fill a lot of that hole they need. If they don't, they are a really good team right now. And could they have a sophomore slump next year? Don't get me wrong, but they're going to need some holes filled in. That's going to be one of them. And the paying of Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, and don't forget Quinyon and Cooper right around the corner. I mean, conversations have to be had, and you have him on he's at a reasonable contract. By the next year or two, his contract will be super reasonable for a superstar type wide receiver as long as he keeps his abilities. And I think the whole plan was to trade him this offseason anyway. And I think his shenanigans that he pulls now and then has drawn thin on the organization, which has helped kind of bolster that idea. And I think that's why we saw a little bit of his angst, if you want to call it that, earlier in the season. But here's my thing is, when they were spreading the ball around and AJ maybe was not getting enough targets. I'm not saying he was getting enough, but maybe he wasn't getting enough, but not as nearly as much as he's getting now. Because right now, every time it feels like they're force feeding AJ. Like, here, just take the ball and shut up, man. Like that's what it feels like. But when he's been getting his, the Eagles have been losing. And that's an issue. And he doesn't really seem upset. Now, last game, he did own a lot at the end of the game in the locker room. Said if he didn't drop those 3 passes, the world would probably be a much different game. It woulda, shoulda, coulda. You know, ifs and buts are the name of sports conversations. But Kevin Patullo is a big problem, I think. I think he's one of the bigger problems. That and the offensive line. The health of the offensive line, the Super Bowl hangover, I think, is real with them from a health standpoint. This has not been a great season from a health standpoint for Lane. Landon Dickerson's in and out of games. Cam Jurgen out off of surgery. Jordan Mailata has not had his greatest game, his greatest season. It's actually probably one of his worst seasons since starting, in my eyes. And you've had a turnstile there. Fred Johnson, he's held his own, done well enough. Could be better, but that's why he's a backup. They've had to put Matt Pryor in there, who I'm sorry, playing out sucks. I mean, he was just a cheap retread. They thought, hey, he knew the system. He's a big body. If we need him, he's we don't need to spend the money on him. But I think they're seeing that now, and I thought right tackle the future was going to be the most get in the first or second round next draft. But there's a lot of holes. Eagles will win today 21-14. You're getting 14 points to the Raiders. I mean, I guess they average what, 15 points a game. So okay, that's not crazy. But our defense, I mean, maybe the conditions, Rob, play a factor in there, but this defense plays like they did against the Chargers. Chargers are like the number 3 defense. I don't mind everybody. So that happened. Penalties are also our biggest problems, Al. How many big plays and TDs negated, especially pre-snap penalties? 100%. 100%. And that's a communication error right there. The pre-snap penalties, of course. So what's going on? Is that Jalen? Is that the offensive line carousel? Guys, like, listen, the one thing I've noticed early on in the season, I think I talked about this October, that guys are timing the Eagles' snaps out, and it's working for them. They're timing them out, so the Eagles know that, and they're on edge. And that's where the pre-snap penalties. But yes, big plays being negated by penalties is murder. Is absolute murder. So that's what I'm saying. That sloppiness is a team thing. That's usually, Don, you've coached long enough. You know how it is. When things are going bad, it can snowball. When things are going good, it can snowball in the right way. It's just right now this team is snowballing, and they gotta get some sort of consistency. And so I'm hoping this game can. And I'm not looking for some super stat padded kind of game from Jalen. I'm looking for consistency, balance, and mistake-free football. Like, that's what I'm looking for, kind of like Don brought up here. So great point, Don. Great point. I'd like to have you on the show one time, Don. The Don of Sports. That's what he calls himself. I love it. Don's a great dude. But that's about it, guys, today. I mean, I want to talk. I just want to, here's your predictions. Rob saying 21-14. I had a different number before the snow. This offense is going to, I honestly think this is going to be a good Saquon game. I really do, not just because of the snow. I kind of felt that way before. Maybe the snow pushes it more. Maybe even Tank Bigsby. 'Cause that's another thing. Tank Bigsby, I mean, it's a small sample size, but when he runs the ball, he's been effective. Why can't we have a three-headed monster? Why? Stop worrying about egos and start worrying about winning, because the egos will go away. And I don't think Saquon's an ego guy. I mean, listen, you're an athlete. There's always going to be some ego. But I'm going to go 24-9. 24-9 Eagles. That is going to be mine, and I'm going to go that because they're not going to score a touchdown, the Raiders. So three field goals. I think that's a fair assessment. That's if the offense can start clicking better. If the same woes continue, oh God, if they lose, that is going to be a conversation to be had. So I don't, that's it's going to be like, listen, man, there's a lot leaning on this game, not for me being right or the haters being right or whatever it is, that guy being right, this girl being right, whatever it is. This season, who would have thought that the form of the season, the would be lingering on this Vegas game, really. And it's not because Vegas or standings as much. I mean, a little bit on the standings, but faith in this team, their faith in themselves lingers a lot on winning this game and showing themselves as much as others that they can play and win games. So that's my final score. I'm going to go 24-9. Rob Moser has 21-14. Guys, enjoy your day. I know you're probably a lot of you are out there clearing your pathways. Be careful. It's a little slippery, a little wet if you're driving around. All that kind of stuff. So just be careful out there. Enjoy the nice weather. Hopefully the kids get out and sled a little bit before they sit down and warm up watching the game. Hopefully with a little hot chocolate for the kiddies and hot mudslide for the adults. On that, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Remember, a lot of great stuff here going on at the It's a Wrap Sports Network. Here is the rest of your day. Oop, let me get Bob's comment down so you guys can see it. Here's the rest of your day here on Sunday on the bottom right-hand corner. And then here is next week. That's it. Plenty of stuff coming up. Running us right into Christmas week. So that's right around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. So all that and so much more. We will talk to you guys soon. Thank you. Mike hopefully will be back next week, pending, of course, the weather plays a factor. And check for the post-game shows, Eagles as well as Flyers, all that and more. Guys, have a great Sunday. Go Birds.